happening right now, and I turn the meeting over to Commissioner File.
All right, thank you, Steve. Good morning, everyone. And first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for their efforts and support in getting us through the election yesterday. It was quite a dynamic and has been for the last several months with the mail-ins. And last night and this morning, and when this meeting ends, we'll continue to count mail-in votes. But a shout out to everyone, especially the folks in the elections department and numerous staff who pitched in to help with this effort. We really appreciate it, and good job. We just have to, and hopefully the state changes some process matters so we can work even more efficiently. So, okay, moving on to the agenda this morning, we need to defer the minutes of May 20th until the next public meeting so they can be posted. Again, the election sort of upset the apple cart there as far as the time frame. So Paul is going to have those ready for approval at the next public meeting. And at this time, we have one proclamation today: Adams County Library System 2020 Summer Quest. Do we have that proclamation, or are we just going to recognize that, Paula?
I believe Jim has a copy of the proclamation.
I do have the proclamation before me. I don't know if George and Laura want to speak before I read.
Sure. I wasn't sure who all was on the call. So do we have any comment prior to reading the proclamation?
Laura, did you want to say anything? This is George.
No, I think I would like you to go ahead and do that, just because this is really what you have been working on with all of our staff for such a long time.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you to the commissioners and everyone for your continued support of our efforts here to serve the people of Adams County. As you know, things have changed quite a bit in our world due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and however, we continue to be open. Even though the doors are closed, the libraries remain open to everyone via the World Wide Web. And so one of the things that we do that is most important for families in Adams County is to provide a summer program, and it's called Summer Quest. In years past, it used to be called Summer Reading Club or Summer Reading Program, and we now call it Summer Quest. We've added a lot more sort of learning activities as well as physical activities, giving people an opportunity to exercise not only their minds but also their bodies. And so this year, our theme is Imagine Your Story, and it is all online. So the staff across Adams County Library System has been working very hard in putting together story times, craft programs, STEAM activities, those types of things that families can access all online. We also have an author visit, which I'm very excited about. A woman named A.S. King, who the New York Times calls one of the best working young adult authors right now. We'll be doing a Zoom meeting with all of the students who register for the program. The first 75 students who register for the program get a free copy of a book called Me and Marvin Gardens, which A.S. King wrote, and we would like to acknowledge the fact that that program is the result of the Helen K. Martin bequest. So the program runs from May 30th to August the 9th. And once again, we will also partner with WellSpan in the physical program called Go Adams, Get Outdoors Adams, in which we will post 15 posts all around Adams County parks, and families and students go and find those posts and make rubbings and also enter a 4-digit code, and they get entered to try and win prizes supplied by WellSpan. And we would also like to acknowledge the support of many local businesses who provide incentives for students, people like Mr. G's, Rita's Ice in Gettysburg, Harrisburg Senators, York Revolution, and others. So we're just very excited to be able to offer this to the families in Adams County, and we really appreciate your continued support for our efforts. I think that was long enough. Sorry, guys.
No, that was fine, and I just want to extend on behalf of all our residents, a shout out for, obviously, you folks are working under unique circumstances and your adaptation in order to keep providing the service to our residents. So thank you guys very much.
This is Laura Goss. May I just add that I really want to give a big shout out to all of the staff, all of the library managers, the branch managers, department managers, because they're really the ones who have been able to keep our services going.
Here, here.
All right, so noted. Commissioner Martin, would you like to read the proclamation?
Yeah, I have the proclamation. It is Adams County Library System 2020 Summer Quest, June through August 2020. Whereas public library service in Adams County is provided through a unique partnership with the county and the Adams County Library System with support from individual donors and business sponsors. And whereas the Adams County Library System is a gateway for exploration that annually offers exciting programs for children, teens, and adults to engage, educate, and entertain residents of all ages. And whereas library reading programs are designed to build early literacy skills in young children to prepare them to enter school ready to read. And whereas school-age children and teens who read throughout the summer return to school without suffering a summer slide in their academic skills. And whereas adults who read during the summer not only set good examples for young people in their lives, but also fun while continuing their lifelong learning. And whereas all 6 branches of the Adams County Library System offer services that connect people to opportunities that enrich their lives, and this summer will offer programs that feature author appearances, theatrical performances, insects, storytellers, and more. And whereas the library doors will be closed during the COVID-19 pandemic, the Adams County Library System remains open and will provide a full virtual summer quest for 2020. And whereas the theme for the summer 2020 quest is what George had to say, Imagine Your Story, will encourage participants to release their inner storyteller. And now, therefore, it be resolved that on this 3rd day of June 2020, the Adams County Board of Commissioners encourages residents of all ages to visit the library online at www.adamslibrary.org to participate in the annual summer quest and add their tale to the ongoing story of Adams County. And in witness thereof, we have herewith set our hands and caused the great seal of Adams County to be affixed on this 3rd day of June 2020.
All right, well, thank you, Jim, and thank you, folks, for your virtual attendance this morning. Also, while you're on the line here, what's the status of the used book sale this summer?
Well, I met with the Friends of the Library about 2 weeks ago, and they are really hoping that they will be able to have just slightly smaller book sale still out at Redding's Auction House. Redding's Auction House is just beginning to do auctions again, so they're going to be watching that, and then they will be making a final decision closer to the date. But for now, they're really hoping that they'll be able to move forward.
Well, we hope so. I usually get at least 10 or 15 books there. It keeps me in reading material for quite a while, so we're hopeful that happens.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to public comment. Do we have any public comment this morning? And if so, please let us know you're on the line, state your name, and proceed.
Can we do a motion to approve the proclamation?
I'll take that as a motion, Jim. Do we have a second? Second. Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, that proclamation is approved. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, now moving on to public comment. Any public comment this morning? Okay, one more call for any public comment if you're out there in virtual land. Okay, hearing no public comment, we'll move on to information technology and Director Walter.
Commissioners, good morning. It's Molly Mudd, County Solicitor. On behalf of Mr. Walter this morning, I have a recommendation from him that the board appoint Chairman File. to execute on behalf of the board the enterprise update statement with Microsoft. Renew Adams County's participation in the enterprise level agreement that was executed between CCAP and Microsoft. The agreement accounts for license quantity increases for desktops, devices, and additional users throughout the year. And the cost to the county of the 2020 true-up is $11,098. Asking for your approval this morning.
Thank you. Any comments or questions on that recommendation?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that recommendation is approved.
Thank you.
Next, moving on to Department of Emergency Services.
Good morning, Commissioners. Warren Clayton, Director, Department of Emergency Services. I appear before you today by telephone to ask that you ratify the approval of the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency 911 statewide interconnectivity funding grant agreement. This agreement is for the support of our dispatch protocol project we're working on with the South Central Task Force. The performance period for the agreement is January 1st of 2020 through December 31st of 2020. The agreement has been reviewed by the Solicitor's Office.
Okay, and I see it's in the amount of $241,000.
That's correct, $241,322.
Okay, for a grant. Any questions or comments for Director Bladen?
None. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That recommendation is approved. Thank you, Warren.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Moving on to victim witness involving another grant.
Good morning, Commissioner. Cindy Keeney. Yes, this is a continuation of the VOCA grant. It's the major funding we receive. It's a federal grant. And it's $322,509 for a 3-year grant. It essentially pays for staff hours. It covers staff as they provide essential services to victims in the aftermath of crime. There was about $700 left over that I put into supplies, but really it's for staff to provide services to victims.
All right. Thanks, Cindy. Any questions or comments for Cindy?
None.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. That recommendation is approved. Thank you, Cindy. Moving on to Children and Youth Services.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Molly Mudd, County Solicitor on behalf of Sarah Finke, Children and Youth Administrator. You have before you this morning a professional services agreement with the law offices of Darcy Lividitis of York, Pennsylvania, for the services of Stephanie Toget Esquire to provide professional legal services on behalf of Adams County Children and Youth. For the county's full-time Children and Youth Services solicitor, is unavailable or taking approved PTO. Professional services will be rendered at a rate of $100 per hour. So in the words of Ms. Finke, we're probably not going to be drawing on this agreement very often, but it will allow the court schedule, which is already backed up, to continue even when our full-time COIS solicitor is out on scheduled family leave and holiday. So this will allow the hearings that are being scheduled now by the President Judge to not have to be pushed again since we're already dealing with quite a backlog. So we're asking for your approval this morning of the professional services agreement.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, or do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve this agreement.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. That recommendation is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to planning. Is Sherry out there?
Yep, Sherry Clayton Williams, the Director with the Adams County Office of Planning and Development. I have before you this morning a reappointment and a new appointment for members to the Zoning Hearing Board. Larry Bushy, who has been serving for a number of years, desires to continue his service on the zoning hearing board, and as such, he will need to be reappointed. It'll be for a 2-year term, effective through December 31st of 2021. And we have a new appointment, Ben Wank, of Three Springs Fruit Farm in the northern part of the county, who is interested in serving. And we're excited to bring on a new person to this board, as well as someone with maybe a different perspective. So we're excited about recommending him for appointment as well. That's Ben Wank for a 2-year term, which will be effective through December 31st, 2021 as well.
All right, thank you, Sherry. Any questions or comment regarding the reappointment and the appointment? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion for both those items.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, with motion second, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, that's approved, and we appreciate Larry and Ben being willing and volunteering to serve.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay. You're welcome. Thank you. All right, at this time, we're going to recess our regular meeting to hold the first public hearing on the Community Development Block Grant Program Entitlement Funds. So at this time, we are in recess from the public meeting. I'll call to order this public hearing, and I will turn it over to Rebecca, I presume, to have that hearing.
Thank you. This is Rebecca.
I'm sorry, this is Ed Franchi with the Keystone Agricultural Worker Program, and I apologize. Maybe I didn't understand the process, so I do apologize. But that was the reason for me being on the call, in terms of just to get a better understanding of the Community Development Block Grant Program. And maybe my place where I should have spoken was during the public comment. But
you're fine. You're fine. There'll be a public comment period during this hearing, so we'll let Rebecca start conducting the meeting, and then there'll be a call for public comment. So no, you aren't too late. In fact, you were just a bit early. So just stand by, and we'll let you have your say.
Okay, so I can continue on the call then.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yep. And I'll ask for public comment, so you have an opportunity.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, Rebecca.
Okay, thank you. So I'm Rebecca Moreland. I'm the Grants Program Coordinator in the Adams County Office of Planning and Development, and I'd like to welcome everyone on the call to the CDBG Public Hearing number 1 for Adams County. This is the date and time for a public hearing to discuss community needs for funding under the fiscal year 2020 State Community Development Block Grant Program, and also a new allocation of funding that's available to the county this year, the CDBG CV, or coronavirus funding, that is awarded to Pennsylvania through the federal CARES grant, or CARES Act, sorry. So this meeting's purpose is to solicit citizen input on possible activities to include in these applications, as well as past performance. The first thing that I want to do before we go further is to take roll for this hearing. And we know that Steve Nevada, the county manager, has already taken the beginning. I'm sorry? We wanted to take roll here, and at this point, I would like it if anyone who was not counted by Steve at the beginning of the commissioners meeting, if you could speak up at this time and state your name, I'd appreciate that. Is there anyone out there that has joined us since the beginning of the meeting when Steve took roll?
Sure, the gentleman who came on the call that we talked to, could you give us your name, please?
Yes, this is Ed Franchi. I'm the director of the Keystone Agricultural Worker Program.
All right, thank you, sir. Anybody else out there who wasn't here at the beginning of the call when roll was taken?
This is Steve Nevada. It doesn't look like anybody else joined us. I can see the numbers. Nobody else joined us since that time.
Gotcha. Thanks, Steve. Okay, Rebecca.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, this hearing was advertised in a notice published in the Gettysburg Times on May 19th, and in that notice, there were instructions provided to the public to provide written comments if they did not want to attend the public hearing itself. To date, for the record, no written comments have been received. So at this point, I'm gonna talk for a little bit about the CDBG program. I have some information from Jay for the good of the order, and then at that point, we'll have an opportunity for public comment. So Adams County will receive an allocation of $327,612 in FY 2020 CDBG funds from the Commonwealth, and this year, an additional $166,152 in CDBG CV funds also from the Commonwealth. So these are both CDBG funds, but with the CV funds for coronavirus response, these must be eligible activities that also prevent, prepare for, or respond to the coronavirus pandemic. So any CDBG funds have certain eligible activities, certain eligibility requirements that they have to meet. The type of eligible activities that can be funded with CDBG include water and sewer systems, streets, housing rehab, emergency housing assistance, recreation and community facilities, new public services, historic preservation, removal of architectural barriers, blight removal, economic development, including business assistance, and administration and planning. That is not a comprehensive list. There are also some other eligible categories in there as well. The county must demonstrate that approved projects, 1, benefit low to moderate income persons, 2, remove slums or blight, or 3, meet an urgent community need. As I had said at the beginning, CDBG CV funds must be used to benefit activities that respond to the conditions created by the COVID-19 pandemic. But the 2020 entitlement CDBG funds, which we receive each year, may be used for any eligible activity. It's anticipated that no less than 70% of the approved grant funds will benefit low to moderate income persons. Further, it is anticipated that none of the proposed activities will result in temporary or permanent displacement of any households. However, in the event that displacement should occur, the county's policy for minimizing such displacement would be in effect. Adams County is responsible for replacing all low and moderate income housing units that may be demolished or converted as a result of the use of CDBG funds. So at this time, I'm going to do some further explanation about the policies that would be in place in the event of displacement. This is at the request of DCED, the Department of Community and Economic Development, which is our administrating agency. They asked us to provide this information at the first public hearing. So I did want to point out, though, that the county has not used CDBG to demolish or convert any dwelling units or businesses in the past, of course, not to my knowledge. And this also doesn't mean that the county is considering demolishing or converting any dwelling units or businesses with CDBG presently. However, if an activity such as this were selected for CDBG funding, the county would have to abide by the following. County would have to replace all occupied and vacant occupiable low and moderate income dwelling units that may be demolished or converted to another use. Replacement must take place within 3 years. The replacement units must be located within the same municipality where the demolition or conversion may occur. The replacement units must be sufficient size to house at least the same number of occupants that could have been housed in the units demolished or converted. The replacement units must be provided in standard condition. The replacement units must be designed to remain low and moderate income units for at least 10 years from the date of initial occupancy. Prior to obligating or spending any funds that would result in demolition or conversion of low to moderate income housing units, the county would have to publicize and provide an opportunity for citizen comment on the following: a description of the proposed demolition and conversion activity, the general location and number of units by size that will be demolished or converted, a time schedule for the start and completion of demolition or conversion, the general location and number of units by size that will be provided as replacement units, the source of funding and the time schedule for the provision of replacement units, and the basis for concluding that the replacement units will remain low mod for at least 10 years from initial occupancy. So as I explained, this is not something the county has done in the past. So what has county done with these CDBG funds? In recent years, in 2018, the county allocated its CDBG funds for a number of different programs, including about $8,791 for the Arts Council's Healing Hearts program for seniors, with arts therapy for senior citizens, $72,000 for Bender's Borough curb cut at the 5-way intersection in the middle of town. $159,000 was allocated to Possum Valley Municipal Authority's Asper's North Road waterline replacement. $15,970 was allocated to United Way for ADA upgrades to replacing wheelchair lifts at their facility in Gettysburg. And $56,142 was allocated to administration. In 2019, the allocations were as follows: $23,660 to PICPI for home buyer assistance, $23,660 also to PICPI for security deposit assistance, $86,368 for Possum Valley Municipal Authority's Prospect Street waterline replacement, $125,000 for Biglerville Borough and Authority's Third and Fourth Street sewer line replacement, $6,785 for planning, and $50,000 for administration. Applications for CDBG CV funding are due at the Adams County Office of Planning and Development by Friday, June 26, 2020. Please make a note of that for listeners. That's much earlier than usual because the CDBG CV funding has a separate application that's due much earlier than the normal process. Applications for the fiscal year 2020 entitlement CDBG funding, which is our normal annual allocation, are due Friday, August 14th, 2020. Again, that's Friday, August 14th. All applications may be submitted either by mail or by email to me. And also, I urge anyone that's interested in applying to contact me to discuss your proposed project before you prepare it. I can provide a lot of technical assistance and point you in the right direction about exactly what we will be needing from you. So that's in conclusion to this, and thank you very much for your patience listening to this information. The purpose of this public hearing is to give citizens an opportunity to make their comments known regarding what types of eligible activities Adams County should apply for under the state CDBG program. Separate public meetings will be held in July and August or through October to discuss submitted applications and to approve the applications prior to submittal to the state. So that concludes my remarks. And I will turn this over now to the commissioner.
All right, thank you. At this time, do we have any questions or comments from the Board of Commissioners before we go to public comment?
I did want to add one thing. I wanted to add one thing on this one. I know from being on the Board of Capital, working with other nonprofits, one of the largest concerns right now is, and honestly, it was prior to the pandemic, is housing insecurity. As we know, the deadline for non-existing people is coming very quickly. I think it may actually be here in June already. And so we have a lot of residents who are going to be concerned about being evicted because they lost their jobs for a couple months. And with the delay in unemployment funding, may be behind in their rent. So I know there will be a push to look at housing subsidy or rent subsidy requests for these funds. That was it.
Okay, Commissioner Martin, do you have anything?
I have no further comment.
Okay, so at this time, that's the board comment. We obviously have at least one member of the public here who would like to comment. So, sir, it's your opportunity to comment.
Yes, thank you so much. Again, this is Edson Franchi. I'm the director of the Keystone Agricultural Worker Program. Just to give you a little bit of background on the program, I won't bore you with all the details, but we do receive a federal grant from the federal government government to basically provide primary care services to all of the agriculture workers, actually in the entire state of Pennsylvania. We do that several ways, and I guess we're a little different from other states where we're kind of, I guess, providing the services kind of in a quasi form. Where there in Adams County, we actually provide the services ourselves. We have a brick and mortar building right there on Fairfield Road in Gettysburg, and we've been providing services there for quite a while. In the other counties throughout the state, just to let you know, we pretty much is done through contracted services. We contract with health centers, federally qualified health centers across the state to help us provide those services. But in Adams County, we do again, provide that services ourselves, even though we do have a contract with Family First Health Center that's there in Adams County. The purpose for me being on the call, I did end up exchanging some communication with Rebecca about the grant, and she suggested I be on the call and kind of share what my thoughts are, and I guess just trying to get some information to see if this is something that would be appropriate and that we should pursue further and submit for. Again, to me, we are providing the services to, the agricultural workers. They're definitely, low-income families and workers that are there. And there's a wide variety of different areas that we can end up, doing it, especially in light of the COVID situation. One key question I guess I have, and I'll gladly entertain questions in terms of kind of what our plans are, but is in terms of the budget and the timing. Obviously, COVID is happening now. The season, our busy growing season is basically upon us. Workers have already arrived, and more are due to arrive. So timing is I guess, going to be a key issue for us. So I didn't know what the timing was in terms of the funds, and the key reason for asking that is, we may be expending some funds, before or soon, I guess, in the near future, and would those expenses be something that can be included in the grant? So I'll be quiet, and then I'll entertain questions, and if you could answer that question, I would appreciate it.
All right, Rebecca or Sherry, can you entertain that question?
Yes, this is Rebecca. So, Mr. Franchi, I know that we did talk about this beforehand. So, at this point, as I had mentioned, CCED is providing us with the guidelines for use of the CDBG funds as well as the regular entitlement CDBG funding. Normally, CDBG does not pay pre-award costs, and that is partly due to the program regulations themselves. It's also due to the fact that the CDBG program also has to comply with the National Environmental Protection Act, which requires an environmental certification prior to obligating any funds or expending funds. However, at this point, because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the need to get the funds available yesterday, 3 months ago, HUD has, I think we did through the CARES Act, actually, HUD was authorized to pay for pre-award costs and actually reimburse for that. However, that doesn't address the National Environmental Protection Act requirements. They're still required, and HUD needs to issue instructions as to how we can reimburse funds, pre-award costs, and also meet the Environmental Protection Act requirements. At this time, I haven't received any updates. So at this time, I can't tell you for sure if you spend money on COVID-19 supplies or other services, if they would be reimbursable after the fact. We're still waiting for guidance. However, as you know, that's with the CDBG CV funds, and actually there's also, even though it's regular entitlement funding for the other about $300,000,
that's also available under the same guidelines, whatever they are going to be issued, whenever they're issued from HUD through the Federal Register or other HUD memoranda. They would both cover or both be available for COVID-19 activities, but yeah, we're still in limbo, waiting for HUD to catch up with all the CARES Act legislation and reconcile between their requirements and the other agencies that oversee administration of federal grants. I'm sorry, I'm sure that's not what you wanted to hear, but yeah, we're still waiting.
Yeah. No, thank you, Rebecca. I mean, I know we've gone over it, when we talked. I just wasn't sure if there was an update, and I guess I just wanted the commissioners just to understand that timing, I guess, is a very important thing. I'll just share one piece of one of the things that we want to do is try to go out to the farms and actually provide testing to the agricultural workers. So with that, there's a lot of things that come into play. We would like to try to get what they call a point of care testing, which basically just, you get the results within 15-20 minutes. And we're actually looking into whether we can actually take that machine physically out to the farms and end up doing that, providing some COVID-19 education to the owners as well as the workers. So again, you need to have the machine there. Also with that, and with social distancing, we're adjusting obviously our outreach events and trying to do them outside. So with that, some equipment's needed in terms of some tents, possibly some tables, even with this Abbott machine, which is the rapid testing machine, if we need power source, maybe possibly a generator to make sure that ends up working. There's calibration, there's PPE, personal protective equipment, that would need to be purchased, N95 masks. We do have, funding for some of those things, but again, some of them we do not. But that's just one of the things that we would like to, to end up doing. But again, that's happening. I mean, we would like to start that, within a couple of weeks, to a month. But that I guess was my concern in terms of, applying for it, expending some costs ahead of time, and how all that works.
Okay, well, one observation I have, and this is pretty obvious to most of us, that they say there's certain things in life, death and taxes. The other thing is, from the time of CDBG application to the time that you receive the money is normally never expeditious. So, Rebecca, do you see these monies coming through this CARES Act being any more expeditious than other monies through CDBG?
Well, that's a very good question, and one we're all wondering. And at this time, I don't have a specific deadline from DCED about when they will have the contract available after the funding is awarded. I can tell you that the timeline right now for the CDBG CV funds specifically, the deadline for the county to apply, this is for the county to apply to the Commonwealth, is July 31st, which is, what is that? It's 3 months earlier than the entitlement funds are usually, we have to apply for the entitlement funds. So they are expediting it that way. How long it will take them to review the applications and get back with a determination of eligibility and start the contracting process, I'm not sure. I'm hoping that they will expedite it very much. Of course, it's terms of it.
Just a general question for my sake. I mean, is that something that a project like this, obviously for the agricultural workers, which to me, obviously are vital to, to the food supply there and are essential workers. I mean, is the project ignoring the funding and the timing? Is that something that that the commissioners, would support or have any just general comments on that?
Any comments, gentlemen?
I said, we have no authority to go outside the guidelines of the program. And as Commissioner Fowle alluded to, working with those timelines is quite difficult because you almost have to have a project that can wait until the funding appears on the scene. And it looks like Rebecca is trying to get you answers that will provide you some sense of when the money would come and how it could come. And we've never had any CDBG funds used for reimbursement that I'm aware of, and this may be something new in the process. Rebecca, what do you have to say?
Let me jump in real quick.
Go ahead.
To answer the question, I think that you could put in a project that would be eligible for funding. What the rules are, I am inclined that projects are focused, and I'm glad you brought up the healthcare side, because we know there's going to be a large population of people coming to Adams County, and if we don't keep them safe, they do use the same stores as the rest of us, and we could see potential infections stemming from that. So I think, housing, food, nutrition, medical, that really was the intention of the COVID fund. So I think if it ends up being eligible, it'll be in the mix with other applications.
Yeah, another thing that we're working just to let you know, which may, put in there in terms of, housing, because some farms, again, they're very good and they have the resources in which to have, say, an area that they can quarantine workers if that's deemed necessary, but others do not. So, being able to provide temporary housing with, by means of a trailer or something like that, something that also might be very helpful to, to the farm owners out there.
Okay, any other comment or questions during the public comment period?
Just to my mind, I hope they relax the regulations because dealing with COVID-19 is a time-sensitive issue, and you just can't wait and wait and wait for funding. The funding has to be there in a timely manner to address the immediate problems or near immediate problems. So I hope there is a favorable ruling, and I would say to Rebecca, as soon as you know something, let's let everyone else know.
Yeah, yes, I agree, and I will do that.
All right, thank you. Any other public comment during the public comment period?
Just say thank you for allowing me to talk and give more information, and Rebecca, thank you for all your information, and I appreciate all your guidance.
Thank you.
All right, so that ends the public comment period. Rebecca, I'll turn the meeting back over to you. Do you have anything else?
No, I don't have anything else. Just a reminder, once again, applications are due for the CV funds by June 26th, and for the regular 2020 entitlement CDBG funds August 14th.
All right, June 26th and August 14th. So noted. All right, thanks everybody for participating in that CDBG meeting. At this time, I will declare the hearing to be adjourned to be picked up at the next scheduled meeting. Do we know when that will be, Rebecca, approximately? Our next hearing?
We're planning it for July 15th.
All right, very good. Then so noted, July the 15th for our next CDBG public hearing. Thank you, everyone. All right, now you're welcome. We'll reconvene our regular public meeting. I think our next item is the State Food Purchase Program.
Yes, if I may, Chairman, this is Paula Nyman, the Chief Clerk. I'd like to ask for your approval and signature on the State Food Purchase Program 5-year grant agreement. between the County of Adams and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture. This agreement is for a period beginning July 1, 2020 through July 1, 2025, and will be used to provide funds for the purchase, transportation, storage, and distribution of food products to program participants. I am also asking you to appoint South Central Community Action Programs as the designated lead agency. They have been the lead agency for many, many years. I ask for your approval.
All right, thank you, Paula. Any questions or comment on either one of those items? And if not, I'll ask for a motion.
Just briefly, definitely is timely for this to be approved. So I definitely make a motion to approve both these items.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, those items are approved. Okay, now, moving on to the Adams County Library System.
Yes, if I may, Chairman, the Adams County Library Board of Trustees notified the county that they have 3 appointees to their trustee board, and we need to recognize them so that the state will recognize them. They are Mary Sue Klein for her second 3-year term, Dorothy Poole for her second 3-year term, and Rita Rice to her first 3-year term. I ask for your approval.
Thank you. Unless we have any question or comment, I'll ask for a motion on all 3 of those recommendations.
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those are approved, and again, we thank those folks for stepping forward and volunteering for the library board. Okay, moving on to several items involving the commissioners. Solicitor Mudd.
Thank you, sir. I have 2 unrelated items this morning. The first is, before you this morning is the Adams County updated drug and alcohol policy. My office and the Human Resource Director worked closely on this. It was revised on May 20th of 2020 with an effective date of June 3rd if the board passes it this morning. And this is an update to existing policy. It is intended to replace the existing drug and alcohol policy in the Adams County Employee Handbook. And it is literally something we've had on our task list probably for the last year. And we have just updated the entire section, including clarifications on prohibited conduct, prescription drugs and medications, medical marijuana and CBD products, post-employment testing standards, and of course it does touch on the employee assistance program. So we're asking for your approval of that policy at this time.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, or do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay, that recommendation is approved.
Thank you, sir. My second item here this morning is I'm asking the board to appoint Chairman File to execute on behalf of the board the May 29th, 2020 proposal for structural roof acceptance for the installation of solar panels at the Human Services Building at 525 Ford School Road in Gettysburg. The proposal is with Janet Fleming Engineering Corporation and includes conducting an on-site review of the existing structure, performing a structural analysis to determine if the existing roof structure is adequate to support the proposed additional overlay of insulation, and standing seam roof deck and solar panels. The cost to the county will be $15,600 for these professional services. This is the necessary last step to determine whether the HSB roof can support the solar roof array. So as the board knows, this has been quite an exciting learning curve for staff as we look forward with the board. This opportunity to generate clean electricity and also preserve and protect the county's agricultural history and valuable ag land. So we are hopeful that the on-site review will come back positive and that the county will be able to move forward after this last step with the roof mount solar project at the Human Services Building. Asking for your approval this morning.
Molly, as we know that certainly the catalyst for doing this is potentially to see if the roof will support solar panels. But beside that, if they're looking at the structural integrity, do you know, will they be looking at the roof in general as far as if it needs any repairs as far as leakage or anything like that? Will that, do you know if that will be part of the comprehensive analysis or not?
Yes, sir, it will be. I don't even want to hesitate to say the possibility that the analysis may come back and say, hey, this building is not built to support a solar array. But if that's the case, then obviously we need to know that. But then they will also tell us if there are areas that need to be patched or replaced, and if the whole roof needs to be looked at, and there needs to be replacement of insulation. All of that will be specified to the county. So at the very least, that will be a project, probably repair or replacement. Can't really tell at this point. But we are obviously really hopeful that it'll come back and say, hey, we can move forward with the solar project. So yes, we will get all of that information from Gannett Fleming. We anticipate getting all of that from them when they complete the review.
Well, good. Then it's going to give us the overall health of our roof, not just in relation to if it can structurally support solar panels. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Any other questions or comments on that item? If not, I'll ask for a motion.
Make motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, that recommendation is approved. Thank you, Mr. Whistler. Moving on to the personnel report.
Good morning, Don Fenimore, Court Administrator. Just asking the Board of Commissioners to note for the record the separation of employment of Harry Turner, Case Management Officer at the Domestic Relations Section. This will be effective June 26, 2020.
Okay.
Good morning
Go
again
ahead.
on behalf of Michelle Miller. Would you like me to jump in here, sir, and do the county's personnel report?
Yeah, there aren't that many, so go ahead. We'll just do them together.
Okay. Ms. Miller had a 10 o'clock WebEx that she had to get off the call for, so my apologies on her behalf. But on behalf of Sarah Finke, Administrator, we have a recommendation to approve the employment of Emily Stottlemyre, case number 2, effective June 1st of 2020. Separation of employment with permission to post. Romario Cano, Corrections Officer, effective May 21st, 2020. Priscilla Spence, Corrections Officer, effective May 6th, 2020. Jackie Shaw, Custodian Maintenance Helper, effective May 28th, 2020. Justin Hoffman, part-time as needed telecommunicator, effective May 26th, 2020. Jason Kopp, part-time as needed telecommunicator, effective June 25, 2020.
All right. Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments on any of those items for personnel?
Make a motion.
If not, I'll ask for a motion.
You got a motion to approve the personnel items.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay, personnel items are approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, moving on to expenditures.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Melissa Devlin, Director of Finance. I'm requesting approval of the expenditures for the following period of May 18th through May 29th in the total aggregate amount of approximately $2.3 million. And the general fund represents approximately $1.6 million of that, all operational. The special funds I'll break down for you. The children and youth represents approximately $165,800. The capital project reserve fund represents approximately $81,000, and the internal service fund represents approximately $316,000 for. Any questions on the expenditures for this time period?
Okay, any questions or comments?
None.
Okay, then I'll ask for a motion.
Make a motion to
Make a
approve.
motion. Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, expenditures are approved. Thank you. Okay, we're coming to the end here. Any other business out there from the board or our solicitors or our staff? Okay, hearing none. At this time, before going into salary board, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn our public meeting today.
So moved. To adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned and we'll go into salary board in just a moment. And I think Paula put out a revised, more current agenda for salary board that you should have on your email.
Okay.
Okay, anybody need more time? Okay, if not, then we'll go ahead and call the Wednesday, June 3rd salary board meeting to order, with the first order of business again, deferring the minutes of the May 20th salary board meeting until the next public meeting. At this time, we have our public comment period. Do we have any public comments for salary board? Okay, any public comment? Okay, hearing no public comment, first order of business is with the courts. Don.
Thank you. Don Fenimore, Court Administrator, asking Salary Board to approve the rate of $13.75 per hour, as set by the collective bargaining agreement between the county and the Teamsters for Jill Kramer, General Clerk at the Department of Probation Services. This hire is set to be effective June 29, 2020. This is a full-time benefit eligible 37.5-hour per week position. Are there any questions?
Any questions or comments for Don?
None.
Okay, then I'll ask for a motion.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's approved. Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the Conservation District. Sherry, you still out there?
Yes, but I don't have the agenda. I think this is the longevity increase for Deborah Musselman, though, however.
That's exactly correct.
Oh, okay. I'm asking for your approval then for that.
All right. Any questions or comments for Sherry?
None.
If not, I'll ask for a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, that matter is approved. Now we move on to tax. Thank you. Now we move on to tax services.
I can jump in here, Commissioner, on behalf of the HR Director, Michelle Miller, who was pulled away. We have a recommendation this morning from Carol Crum, Director, to approve the following. Abolish the Data Processing Coordinator position effective June 3, 2020, and approve the job description and create a Special Programs Assistant position, pay grade S6, full-time, benefit eligible, effective June 3rd, 2020. Can I continue?
You just want to go ahead and do security and corrections as well.
Sure. Thank you, sir. From the Security Department, we have a recommendation from Director Mark Massmer to temporarily transfer Security Officer John Luckaball to the Human Services Building as the lead security officer. $19.04 an hour, effective June 1, 2020, until a replacement is hired. At the Adams County Adult Correctional Complex, we have a recommendation from Morgan City Heilman to approve the rehire of Priscilla Spence, Corrections Officer, $17.40 an hour, except by the AFSCME collective bargaining agreement, effective June 1, 2020.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comment on any of those items? Okay, if not, I'll ask for a motion on those items. Motion to approve. Okay, I'll take that as a motion and second. So, a motion and second, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay, those matters are approved. Do we have any other business for salary board this morning? Okay, hearing none, and then I'll ask for a motion for adjournment of salary board.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, thank you. We are adjourned. Alex, are you still on are you on the call?
I'm still here, guys.
Okay, so we'll hang on. Yeah. So we are adjourned. Do you have any questions for us before we go back to county? Before we go back to county mail-in ballots?
I know you guys had a long day yesterday and a long day today, so I just got really one quick question here, and it's on the proposal for the structural roof assessment as far as the solar panels. So from what, if I'm understanding this correctly, the $15,600 is to assess whether the roof can have solar panels, and that will also give you the even if it can't have solar panels, will give you an overlook on the quality of the roof in general for future repairs. Is that correct?
The answer is yes.
Got it. Okay, good. So are you guys, as far as looking at the solar panels, what's the thought on that? Save money on electricity, or what led to the assessment, I guess?
Well, there's a couple different prongs. The one prong is that we're hoping that we can attach a company bringing those panels and putting them on the roof. We're basically paying for the cost of any structural upgrade or repairs to our roof. That putting a new roof on that building would probably be a $1 million project off the top of my head. So we're hoping to offset the cost of roof repairs, and then also, as an auxiliary to that, potentially provide, electrical to county building or buildings. So there's actually a couple prongs working there. But to be honest with you, we don't know if it's feasible or not. And this is one way that we can tell if it's feasible and also get a report on the general health of that roof, which is extremely large.
Absolutely, big building. So that pretty much sums up everything I had. You guys get back counting and hopefully get straight.
Hey Alex, if you want to have the experience, come on in. You can count with us for a while, and that way you can report on firsthand just how exactly it's working.
I was watching the WebEx, and you didn't realize I was kind of the back of the head for a little bit yesterday.
Okay, I saw something over my shoulder, but I wasn't quite sure what it was.
Yeah, I tuned in every now and then. So thanks a lot to Sean. Oh, shut up, Callie. Thanks a lot to Sean for setting it up for me.
You got it. All right, everybody. We'll see you back upstairs.